Welcome to today's episode of I Get It. Today, we are diving into marriage and the roles that we play in our own marriage and the different types of marriages that exist, where we want to see our own and how we move up to that next level of closeness and intimacy. So here we go.
Let's do it.
Welcome to I Get It, a podcast for the modern woman who doesn't want to live mediocre. We're balancing babies on our hips, typing out that important email, and flipping pancakes at the same time. Not to mention, keeping things steamy with our husbands right before we put our face mask on for the night. It's not easy, and you are not alone. I'm your host, Tara Wages, and I get it. Hello, thank you so much for being here. I am your host, Tara Wages, and this is my incredible husband who did the greatest thing in the world yesterday. He picked up that phone, called my mom, and said, hey, you want these babies?
It was National Grandparents' Day. So.
You didn't know that whenever you did it.
I
didn't. You discovered it after. It was a win-win.
Yep.
And so I'd been teasing my parents all week of like, hey, anytime you want them, they're yours, you know, and they just kind of laugh at me.
Sometimes it just needs a son-in-law call.
Yeah, I mean, I really think if given the choice, they would choose you over me any day of the week. Like if you ask for anything, they're like, yeah, Wes, what do you need? You know? So we woke up this morning to an empty house. We are recording this podcast in the morning. Mainly, Wes is about to go back out of town. And just this crazy season that we're in. So it was so nice before he left to just get a little bit of time to ourselves.
18 hours, yeah.
Yeah, it was absolutely awesome. And so that kind of goes into what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
And
well, first, did you want to talk about what happened this week?
I'll talk about what happened this week.
First, you look beautiful. This dress. You just got it, didn't you? It's like a vintage dress.
I made a commitment at the beginning of the year to only buy vintage or secondhand.
Yeah.
I've always loved vintage clothes, and I also my part to contribute to the world. And yeah, I just found this bad boy. I mean, I also got a raincoat that's just as long as the dress.
That you're more excited about.
Well, the two together just like fuel my soul. So yeah.
Yeah, but what happened this week?
I finally pulled the trigger. And I got the Botox.
Which I have so many questions.
I mentioned on the podcast episode back in June, it was my birthday.
Oh, really?
That I had planned on doing Botox this year and finally pulled the trigger. Met with an incredible doctor who I wholeheartedly trust. And I'm actually planning to have her on the podcast soon just to talk about beauty and healthcare and things like that, taking care of ourselves as moms. She's a female entrepreneur. And I want to be clear, I don't think you need Botox to be beautiful by any means. And that's not really even why I did it. But there's such a stigma around it. Like, I'm nervous admitting to you that I've done this. But y'all know I keep it real. I ain't gonna hide nothing from you. So I'm going to share. We're going to break all the things down and talk about it. So I'll answer all those questions then.
So I can ask some, though?
You can ask some then. Yeah,
okay.
For sure. And yeah, it's been kind of a great week settling back in at home and gearing up for Wes to leave again. So we're going to crank this thing out. You can go on the road.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Yeah. This, so first level of kind of a marriage. What is it? Yeah.
So really like the different types of marriage and roles that we play. And the first, I think the baseline that I've seen and talked to people and we've experienced even at a short time is just like roommates. You know, you're married, you've made that commitment, you've made the vows, you are living together in your home, possibly sleeping in the same bed. Maybe one falls asleep here or there, but you're totally living your life separately. Like, you probably have the passcode on your phone. You know,
What do you mean?
Like, you can't look at my stuff.
Oh, like a passcode where your spouse couldn't look at it?
Yeah, like we talked about that. You know, like you don't have access to each other's lives.
Yeah.
And you have major walls built up between, you're passing ships in the night, you know, and there are definitely seasons that we've even experienced that. We didn't have passcodes on our phone, but we were not connected.
Yeah.
There was no intimacy. And so roommates lack the mental, physical, emotional intimacy.
Yeah.
And there are some people like that's what they want. They are happy with that. And that's, we'll talk about those things. But yeah, that's baseline.
Yeah.
Bare minimum. The next level you have is teammates.
Put on the same shirt.
Yeah, you're putting on the same shirt. You have the same goal. You are working together, but you are playing two different parts. And with this role, there's still the finger pointing of you do the trash. Why didn't you do this? Where were you at? I want this. Things are still very separate, but while working towards a similar goal, you're happy. Teammates isn't necessarily a bad or unhappy feeling. You may be having sex, but you have your separate roles, you have your separate jobs. And I find us in this mode often in parenthood. There are so many times, especially when we travel, one of us is playing offense, getting the dinners made, getting the home, the tasks checked off. And the other one is playing defense of keeping humans alive and keeping them from killing each other, And so we have...
It's a big task.
That's a big task. So we have our separate roles that we are doing while still ultimately working on the same team.
Yeah.
A partnership is where you see the finger pointing stop.
This is the next level.
This is the next level, is being partners with each other. As a partner, you are supporting each other's dream. You are living life wanting to help that other person get ahead.
Yeah.
And you're no longer you, I. It is, hey, there's dishes in the sink. Whoever gets to them first does them. If you see a task, if you see a job, you both pitch in together and you're working towards that together.
Yeah.
Really the biggest thing is the no finger pointing. And with partners, you're having sex, and you may not even be having sex. I think that people can be partners and not being regularly sexually active, but you still have intimacy on another level. You can be emotionally intimate with each other, mentally intimate with each other, and like best friends, Then finally, the last level is oneness. And this is where this whole conversation has started for me, because there's this like new era of things where people are like, nobody should complete each other. You complete yourself. Be your own person. You should never be anybody else, And I just kept hearing that.
Like, so you're saying you shouldn't have another person have to complete you.
Yeah, well, that's what people are saying.
Yeah.
Because the whole Jerry Maguire moment where he's like, you complete me. And now in 2020...
I thought it was something about money.
That's a different scene.
I don't think I've seen it.
Now in 2020, people are like, no, nobody else should complete you. Like, that's not how it goes.
Yeah.
And when I hear that, at first I was like, okay, I see what they're saying, because I very much believe, like, be your own person. But then I kept thinking about the wedding ceremony. And literally, we are faith-based. We are followers of Christ. And in our wedding ceremony, it says, to become one. That is literally the goal, is oneness. You are supposed to complete me. Does that mean I don't have my own brain, my own interests, my own hobbies? No. But we are working together so in sync that as the goal for our relationship, that you know what I need before I need it.
Yeah.
That
as it was designed to be.
That is how it was designed to be, that we can function as one unit together and fill in those gaps for each other in a way where it's no longer you and I, but one human. And this is a level of intimacy on every level: sexual intimacy, mental, physical intimacy.
So do you have sex at oneness?
Yeah, like that is literally one.
Yeah.
And these are the people that the husband dies and 48 hours later the wife passes away. Like, I believe in that. I believe that people can reach the point where their souls are so entwined with each other that they emotionally do that with each other. And to me, that is my ultimate goal. It doesn't have to be everybody's. Like,
to die within 48 hours of each other.
Yes. And we've already made the rule. I get to go first. So you better be coming after me, you know?
Just, we should utilize life insurance just for a week or something, right? Okay. Like,
take
have
your
fun
trip
for a week and then.
But yeah, ultimately, like, that type of marriage is my goal, to be one with each other. And we are not there necessarily. We may have moments where we are very intimately entwined. But again, with the season of life that we're in, we are so often playing different roles. And with your travel schedule and things like that, we aren't able to operate in that way just yet.
Yep.
But I want to talk about a couple of different things. And to start, like, what do you want out of your relationship? That is the first question to ask yourself, because there are some people that, based on previous relationships or childhood trauma or anything like that, they have their boundaries set and they want a teammate. That's as far as they want it. They don't want their heart involved any deeper than that. They are looking for that teammate, or they want a partnership without that level of intimacy. They want a roommate, So I want you to know that if you are where you want to be, that is great. Mm-hmm. As long as you and your partner are on the same page about wanting to be there.
Yeah.
I think the struggle comes is when you find yourself somewhere that you don't want to be. And you don't know if your partner wants to be there. You don't know how you got there. And you are so disconnected that you don't feel like you can even have the conversation to be like, hey, are you happy? What do you want out of this? Like, what is our goal together?
Yes.
And so it's hard to move forward, you know? And you can move to the next level, So here I'm going to talk about some of the things that you can do to help you to move up on the ladder rung if you want to.
Yep.
And
the next level.
Yeah. The first step is you both have to be there to fully move up. You both have to be willing to put in that energy, to put in that emotional, mental capacity. But it only takes one of you to start that change.
Absolutely. Like, somebody has to make the move. And sometimes that's awkward, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's awkward to say, all right, I'm ready for the next level. I'm ready for something else. But I'm nervous to even have that conversation with my partner sometimes.
And so if you're nervous about that, then just start doing it. Even before you talk about it, look at where are the holes. What is missing that is maybe keeping you there?
Yeah.
And it may be that you need to step up a little bit in your taking care of your home. It may be that you're missing a love language. It may be that you've put so many boundaries up against your partner that they've lost trust in you if you have a passcode on your phone, if you don't allow them to look at your Netflix account. And I really think that that's what it is one of us saying, okay, I have protected myself, or I haven't let you in my bubble, and I'm going to let you in. And you may not even recognize that I'm letting you in yet, but you'll see it,
Yep.
And so starting that change, do you have your boundaries in place to help your partner feel safe? If you're going out all the time as a female with a bunch of other guys, your partner doesn't feel safe. You're not going to move to that next level, and vice versa for sure. Do you know your partner's love language, and are you practicing it regularly? Mm-hmm. And this is something like Wes and I got into it this week. No, we
don't fight, actually.
We had an argument because he felt like he was practicing my love language, but he was not practicing it in a way that I need in this season. And I felt unseen in the moment that we're in. And so we had to have this conversation of like, this is what I need from you, and if you want us to be more unified, I need you to focus more on this area and less on this area. And that's great. Like, being able to tell each other what you need only helps you move up and only helps you move forward. And practicing those things on a consistent basis, and letting each other see like, hey, have you seen that I'm doing this for you? That's huge.
Sometimes we just have to remind ourselves, hey, I'm doing this.
Yeah. In fact, so this week, Wes was like, I'm going to show you all the text messages that are good that I've done with you, and I'm like, well, don't you remember all of these types of hugs that I get, like physically touching you? So reminding each other is okay. That's totally fine to point those things out. Are you showing up mentally and emotionally for sex? And all of these questions are based at you, not your partner. I'm specifically doing that because you need to check yourself. You are only responsible for yourself, and how you show up will only encourage your partner to show up in the same way.
Absolutely.
And we've talked about the fact that can take time. He's not going to change. She's not going to change overnight, but you have to just keep showing up until you may reach a point to say, okay, I've given it all I have, and they're still just wanting a roommate, and I want more than that.
Well, having a conversation and saying, hey, just to let you know, I've shown up in the last few months. Like, I've been doing this. You haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I just want to point it out. What do you think about that? And having that conversation. Yeah. Those conversations are tough, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they're more difficult when you already feel disconnected, and so it may even just be like, hey, I want our marriage to succeed, and I'm trying to do these things for you. Are they effective, or is there anything else I can do to serve you?
Yeah.
Like, what do you need from me? Because like Wes and I talked about this week in our own argument, is he realized like, okay, usually your love language is words of affirmation. But because of this season that we're in, with me traveling all the time and you not feeling fulfilled in your daily work, maybe you're actually needing gifts or quality time. Like, maybe in this moment, I'm needing something else. And so realizing those things can shift depending on your season of life. So asking each other what that thing is.
Yeah, that's like, I saw a little meme or something this week about change. And it says, yeah, like, we're humans. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to change. You can't, personality assessments and tests are great, right? Because they can help you in moments, but those things will change.
Yeah.
And so, yes, your words of affirmation, but I feel like I've been giving that to you.
Yeah.
But honestly, right now, I feel like acts of service mean a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
really just getting rid of the kids for a little bit. I love my children, just so you know. Yeah, for sure. And seasons do change quickly. Another question to ask yourself is, does your partner feel supported by you? And this could be in anything outside of just the love language, but do you feel like they're cheering you on in your career? Do you feel like, or asking yourself, am I cheering them on? Am I the one supporting my partner and letting them know, like, hey, fulfill your dreams? How can I support you? And if you have a stay-at-home wife, if you have a woman that stays home, you can show her support by stepping in and helping with the housework. Don't assume because she's home all day that she has the ability to do that with kids in the house. And so supporting them by doing things for them that help them move forward in whatever career, hobby, goal that they have, and ways that we do that for each other is you supporting me right here in this podcast, like you're showing up for me in this way. And I'm showing up for you in the 32-foot RV sitting in our driveway, and that's how we support each other.
Sexy that you know how long it is.
We support each other by helping each other feel fulfilled in their goals and their dreams.
Yeah.
So doing that, I want to encourage you that you can float between these things, and so it's important to not feel stuck wherever you're at. I think that is a huge issue that we have is we get in this moment and we think this is forever. And so you just settle in, you're just like, okay, this is comfortable. It's working. I'm going to settle here. Even though your heart wants more, you're not willing to either put in the work or the effort, or you're afraid of rocking the boat, or you can be miserable. You can be the opposite of that. And you are living in fear that it can never get better. And I want to say from our experience, we have regularly floated between all four of them. We've been roommates. We have been teammates. We have been partners. We are most consistently partners. I would say that's where we tend to spend the most time. But we've experienced all of them. And so if you are miserable, if you are not happy where you're at, it is you putting in the work, self-checking to see what you're contributing to your relationship that may have gotten you where you're at, and what you can do to get out of it. But don't feel like you're stuck. And some of those things may even be therapy. We are huge advocates for counseling and therapy, or coaching. You may not need a therapist if it's not emotional trauma or anything like that. You may just simply need a coach.
Yeah. How do I get to the next level?
How do I get to the next level? Yeah. Like what we did this summer with Dr. Glenn Hill, who we absolutely love and highly recommend, just coaching us along into the next thing. And there is nothing wrong. I think it's super beneficial to have that outsider kind of give you a different perspective and view.
Yes.
To
relate and to say, hey, you're normal.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of people who are normal as well. And guess what? You fit in that box.
You do. And I think what's interesting is when we're operating at the different levels, we can feel unnormal, especially those people that are operating at the roommate level in this moment. They may feel like, this isn't normal. This isn't how it's supposed to be. But in reality, you're not alone. Yeah. There are lots of people experiencing that are either now putting in the time and effort to move up, or have decided to stay there, or end it. But just know that is something that marriages walk through and they go through. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that 2020 has challenged this more than any other year. I would probably argue any other year in the history of a long time. Yeah. Because we've experienced it all at this point. Half of our West Coast is in flames right now. And I can't imagine the stress that these couples are experiencing as they are watching these fires come closer and closer. Two of our very good, we actually have lots of friends in the Portland area, but I've been watching two of our good friends posting how orange their sky has gotten every single day, and the stress that they are experiencing. Guys, those things play into this. Yeah. So please know that if you are at a roommate level, if you are at a teammate level, and that's not where you want to be, those things, a lot of times it's because outside stressors are playing into it. We're in a pandemic. We're in a revolution. Yeah. We are in a political craze, no matter what side of the party you lie on. We had 2 hurricanes coming at the same time not long ago. I mean, the list goes on and on. And so your partner isn't broken. Yeah. If they are only operating at roommate or teammate level right now, and you're wanting more, it's maybe having the conversation of how can I just support you? If you're the one who has the ability, because they are mentally tapped out, this may just be your season to step up and carry your relationship and know that it's not forever. Yep. We've definitely had seasons where the outside world stressors, you have carried our relationship a lot of times in pregnancy and early postpartum, and then there are times that I've carried our relationship. So know that your relationship being tested right now is not on you. And it's more than likely not on your partner. It is a lot of what is happening around us that we are bringing that stress into our home, and we can't break it off right now. Yep. The good news is, guys, it's September. We're getting closer and closer. I'm kind of bummed because we threw a huge party this last year for 2020.
We have to do it again.
And I feel like this next one's going to have to be blowing it out of the water,
We'll celebrate that the year is over.
Celebrate that this junk is over. And so I want to say that as encouragement to you, because I understand that feeling of the outside stressors, and what role that can play. And maybe this would be a great time to find an online counselor, to help y'all get through this. Yeah. So
or coach.
Yeah, for sure. And just giving each other more grace right now than you ever have, with the boundary, like nobody should be cheating. Like that ain't okay. No matter what's going on outside. There are definitely those boundaries that you should not, outside stressors is not an excuse, but being mentally and emotionally exhausted, I see you, I feel you. And so grace upon grace upon grace, for sure. So that's what I have. That's okay.
Cool. Where are we at right now? What level?
I would say we're partner. I think we are partners mostly just because of the travel season and because I don't currently feel fulfilled where I'm at in life. Here we are. Hey guys.
So yeah, we're between like teammates and partners, kind of like.
Yeah, because there are definitely times that you're playing defense and I'm offense, and we're just trying to get the job done.
Yeah.
But then like last night was pretty close to Oneness, if you ask me.
Having time for ourselves is huge.
Absolutely. Yeah, I meant to say that. Thank you. Yeah, allowing those kids or asking the grandparent, hey, can you take them for a night? And literally, they had them from 5 p.m. to I'm literally about to drive and get them right now. It wasn't a super long time, but it was enough time for us to sit at our table and look at each other in the eye and have a conversation, and that was really beautiful. Mm-hmm. And those are the moments that help move us into that next level. So if we were balancing between teammates and partners, like last night definitely leaned us towards partnership, for sure. I want to say thank you so much to every person who has showed up every week and listened to this, engaged with us about it. It really means the world. I would love if you would share this podcast. I'm a 3. I've admitted this, like reviews help me, sharing helps me. I'm here to grow. I want to help other couples. So if it helps you, that means it could help somebody else. So please share. And I want to give a very special shout out to niece Mary, who said, Tira and Wes shot our wedding 6 years ago, and I loved their relationship and presence. Thankfully, they are sharing their wisdom with all of us now in this podcast. After days of feeling alone through this quarantine, I feel like Tira has somehow gotten in my brain and knows what I'm feeling. She truly does get it. Mary, I thought about you this week. We were in Memphis. We drove by where your reception was. Mm-hmm. And this girl is light. Like she's still in my top 5. Mm-hmm. Obsessed with Mary. So thank you, Mary, for being here and sharing that. It truly does mean the world. And yeah, I know that life is a little crazy, and there are days that you feel a little crazy, especially when you're looking at someone in your home and wondering what role you play in their lives. You are not alone. I get it. Be happy and love each other.
See ya.
Peace.